Now, okay, that's annoying. Okay, now that I have your full and undivided attention, I know most of you guys are very familiar with this ringtone. This is the famous smartphone, or more specifically, iPhone ringtone that most of you guys hear when you first wake up in the morning. Whether you guys hit the snooze button a dozen times, or you spend the first 30 minutes of your morning engaged in the lives of others when you should be prioritizing yourself. And I don't mean this in like such a negative aspect, but instead of like getting ready for the day or the morning and mentally preparing yourself, you guys are hopping on social media networking sites such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And most of you guys think you guys are being, or let me restart that. Instead of being captivated by the world or noticing the beautiful blue sky or the leafy green trees, you guys are just looking down at your phones, thinking that you guys are informed about the world via social media, when in reality, the more informed you are, the more uninformed you really are. Don't get me wrong, smartphones give you easy access to information, communication, other various applications that we believe we need, but we truly don't. So today I'm going to enlighten you about the rise of smartphone addictions, the various types of distractions, and the negative health effects that it provides for us. Hopefully at the end of the speech you guys are persuaded to minimize your usage of smartphones. To begin with smartphone addiction, according to the International Center for Media and the Public Agenda, there is a large impact on Americans today addicted to media, describing their feelings when they abstain from when abstaining from using media in literally the same terms associated with drug and alcohol addictions. In withdrawal, frantically craving, very anxious, extremely antsy, miserable, jittery, or crazy. These are all symptoms we deal with when experiencing withdrawal from things like money, drugs, or even love. So I don't have a visual to explain to you guys what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are, but I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with it. So at the bottom, we have the psychological problems, and at the top, and then at the top, we have self-actualization. And from a personal experience, I got off of social media because I'm doing this research paper in English and on smartphones, as well as like the same topic as I'm doing now. And I realized how addicted I was and all these negative effects it's putting on myself. So if I haven't contacted you or so on, it's because I'm off of social media. And most people need self-actualization, which is at the top, and they think that they can find it through their smartphone because they're creating identities for themselves online. But without my phone, I already realized self-actualization, and I'm just focused more on myself. And frankly, I realized I don't care what other people are doing, and I don't care that and I wouldn't care if they know what I'm doing. In the journal Social Psychology, research shows that even if you don't touch your phone all day and it's just visibly near, you have the same types of distractions. So to sum it all up, in this research, there's 50 college students, and there's 3 groups. There's one where their phones are visible. The second one, their phones aren't visible, but their leader's phone is visible. And then the third one, there's no phones visible at all. And those who had the phones visible, whether it's themselves or their leader, they couldn't perform tasks as well as those without the smartphone could perform. So college students, how are we going to refrain from using our smartphones? Standing in front of you today, I already see 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't even know. And out of the 10 people we have left in this class. So some of you have your phones laying around because we cling to them like we cling to our teddy bears as a child. Let's face it though, if your boo sent you a text right now, or your side chick, you guys will just be okay, I'm just gonna text her or him really, really quickly. But those 10 to 15 seconds that you guys are on your phone, you're probably going to miss my next point in my speech, and you're the perfect example of why we should walk into class ready to learn and stuff our phones in our backpacks or bags. So for my next point, smartphones have various types of distractions, and like I named them earlier, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and these are all factors for distractions. Like, another example would be you have a persuasive speech tomorrow, and it's midnight. You set a reminder on your phone telling you to do your outline, to practice your speech, but you were distracted with all of these networking sites. And now you're thinking, should I just like pull an all-nighter, or should I just like not show up to class and just like do it on Monday? And okay, my next point about the various distractions is texting and driving. A statistic on iceberg.org states each year over 330,000 accidents caused by texting while driving lead to severe injuries. This means that 78% of all distracted drivers are distracted because they have been texting while driving. Next time you get a notification while driving, try and ask yourself, is it worth risking your life or someone else's life, or can it wait? And I know I just talked to you guys about like college students already, but another distraction would be, that smartphones are lowering GPAs among college students. And this is a news article I found on EBSCOhost, and Brian Hedens surveys roughly 500 students and their phone use. Not very surprisingly, college students admit they use their phone for more than 10 hours per day and had a lower GPA of 2.19 compared to the students who use it for less than 2 hours a day, with a grade point average of 3.19. So next time you have homework or errands to run, prioritize what you need first, and remember, notifications are temporary and GPA is forever. My next point is health. So the use of smartphones are one of the many reasons our sleeping schedule is messed up. And you may get that 3 a.m. text like, are you up? Or what you doing? And I'm not saying the person who's texting you is a problem for messing up your sleeping schedule, or like they could be many other problems, but sorry. Okay, but I bet many of you don't know all the health problems it leads to, such as impairment of memory, depression, harder to learn, and or inability to focus or pay attention. And these are serious factors we should consider. Staring at your smartphone light can disrupt your sleep cycle, making it harder for you to fall or stay asleep. Staring at Okay, so for my solution, limiting your smartphone is very easy. If you're entering the classroom or you're entering your car and you're ready to get on the road, we should be putting our phones away and stuffing them in our bags or backpacks. Or if you have assignments or just a test you need to study for, we should be putting our phones on airplane mode. Or I'm pretty sure there's like apps. I should probably should have looked more into it, but there's apps that can restrict you from using certain social media sites, or like block you from getting distracted. It's true that smartphones have an enormous impact on society and other aspects of life. Now that you have the knowledge of the smartphone addictions, the different types of distractions, and the mental health issues, I hope that all of you do not abuse this wonderful privilege that we have with smartphones and other technology, and use it for its primary functions. Don't let these devices control your life. Thank you.
Ashley, what'd you think? Apparently Ashley's not here. All right, well, I'll just tell you what I thought. I thought the ringtone thing at the start was an okay way to get our attention. It worked pretty well. The transition into social media was fine. It seems like natural since you're talking about the tool, the device there immediately. There's an interesting setup of what some of the sources of the problems are. I think that works pretty effectively. There's a good preview, and we know what your goal is at the end of the speech. So the attention step in the process is pretty well developed. Now the content issue is okay as well. You talk about addiction, and you've got some nice examples. You do get a little confused on Maslow, so that's one of those things that probably just needed a little bit more practice. You probably wrote it better for the paper that you were working on because you could refer to the structure there. But we, of course, have all heard about Maslow in here, and so everybody is going to be saying, no, that's not it, it's this other thing, and you want to make sure that you get it right because we talked about it just last week. I did like the idea about how people sometimes, the thing that fuels their addiction is this sense of trying to create a social identity online, and by trying to achieve our self-actualization, so to speak, that we might be denying things that are more important to us, and that we ought to be paying attention to those sorts of things, like our safety issues, for instance, which should take precedence over those other kinds of things. So I kind of like the idea that you've got that going. It did seem a little confusing because you went from the academic part to this thing about accidents, and then you jump back to the academic part, and that's probably, you just had a piece of information that I meant to do that earlier. It wasn't a big deal, but it did feel a little bit awkward that it wasn't as well organized as it might have been. I did think that you cited some information in most of the points. I thought that was a good thing. When you get to the solutions, I think that you could develop them a little bit more and maybe create a stronger visualization. But I thought, especially at the beginning of the speech, that you did a good job trying to tie it into the audience with, talking about examples in class and pointing out the fact that we have people sitting here who are doing this very sort of thing, and it becomes part of the problem. Everybody's got that damn phone right in front of them. I think there are a couple of places, for instance, where you could tie it in a little bit more. So you could ask people, okay, the 5 of you who have your cell phones out right now, are you willing to trade access to that cell phone for that GPA that I was just talking about? Because that's exactly what you may end up doing. So you can engage the audience a little bit. I mean, you don't want them to answer the question, but if you're talking to us, then it's a little bit more likely that people would be paying attention to it as well. Okay. We'll stop there. Thank you.